guys, this is Mohit Mustani from ScreenBench.com, and today we have Eve Mauro. And let's see what Eve today has to tell us about the amazing TV shows that she's been doing, and the movies she's done, and all her work. And we'll ask about Cypher, and we'll ask about Dystopia, we'll ask about the living dead and everything. So, welcome
Yeah.
along, Eve. How are you?
Hi, it's good to be here.
How are you?
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great.
Great, great. Well, we were just having a discussion before, so it's good to jump back in and talk with you. I'm glad to be able to
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Eve, Cypher has been doing really, really well. So, and so are your other, shows, and the past ones as well have done pretty amazingly well. I mean, in terms of viewership numbers and everything, uh,
Uh-huh.
it's been great. So, how do you manage to, uh, come up to the expectations, and in fact, cross the expectations and do such wonderful work, and all at the same time?
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So when there's the thing, you you want to go into these jobs and you want to fulfill all these expectations and these dreams and you want to do well, but as much as hard as the work can be, sometimes it becomes out of your hands at certain points, and you have to rely on other people. It's a community in the acting world, in the entertainment industry,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to directors, editors, sound,
Yeah.
lighting, everything. And so with Cypher, we did a really good job. We waited for a while for it to come out to find the perfect home, which we did with Roku. And but when you watch things, and that's where I find the beauty of most of the work is, when you're watching things, you find, what could I have done better? What could I have changed? And so for me, I've never reached a point of perfection or anything of that nature. I'm always finding my faults. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of people think of that as being negative, but you say, what could I have done to change it? And what if I did it the next time around, my
Yeah.
next job, what could I have done to make it
Make it
perfect?
better.
And so that way, but I would always be growing. So the next time I'll do all those things, I'll correct those things, and then I'll have more to work on. But Cypher was great to work on.
Uh-huh.
Great cast, great director, Majdi. He's Tunisian, amazing award-winning director. I had a lot of fun, and it's gotten a lot of reviews. I was really happy with the role, and yeah.
Uh-huh. So, how was it working with Martin Tingle?
It's amazing. He's a really creative writer, director. He was an actor before. He
Of
had
course.
told me in the past. He's very popular in Tunisia, but he knows what he wants. We would walk onto set one day, and he'd see the set and it's the FBI office, and he
Exactly.
looked around and he says, "No, this doesn't work." And we're all on set getting paid. He says, "I'm not going to shoot this. This isn't what I had in my head." Has them tear it down, everything. He's like, "I want glass, plexiglass here. I want screens everywhere. I want this written here." We just sit there and we wait. And he's like, "I don't care about the money. This is what I want. This is my vision." And as an artist, as a director, sometimes you have to do that. Of course, the producers didn't like it. Money's going out the window.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's like, am I going to put my name on something that I don't like? No. So we're going to sit here, and this is my name. And
Yeah.
it's in a sense, for life, we have to think of that, because sometimes we're like, okay, it's fine, it's passable, but it's like, no, this is your life, this is your only chance, and
Exactly.
we're not promised tomorrow. So say, this doesn't work for me right now
Yeah.
because tomorrow isn't promised. Next movie I'll get you. Well, no, this movie, this is we're so in that sense, I really appreciate that his vision was it. And if it didn't meet up to his standards, it wasn't happening. And it's not as easy said as it is done. You really have to
Exactly.
have a firm stance and belief system to really press that through, because there's so many people like, listen, we don't have time, we don't have this. It's like,
Exactly.
this is mine and this is what I'm going to do. This is my creation. Don't tell me what we can and can't do,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My question was somehow gonna be, my next question was somehow gonna be that, how was it working with Martin in terms of understanding and Martin being, satisfied with the way you guys played your characters, because
Yeah.
I mean, whether he felt that you guys were doing justice with the characters or not. So you kind of answered that. So
Yeah, well, I mean, and I learned sometimes we didn't have many takes, or I didn't have a take, and I was just like, that's fine.
yeah,
And I was like, you know what? I should have said something. I should have said, let me do it one more time. Or this doesn't work for me. And that's where I learn. And now it's like you have to learn, because you know what you're capable of.
right,
And some people, they're like, well, the lighting was great there. We're all in this together, just like in alive in life. This
exactly,
is not singular. This is a group effort. We're not
exactly.
alone.
It's
We're
a,
all
it's
doing everything
teamwork.
together.
This is not my
Yeah,
movie. This is not your movie. This is not his movie. This is not her movie. This is our movie. We're all a part of
exactly.
shining, right? If we do
all
it
of this
right,
all of this life we're living,
yeah,
this is our lives
yeah,
together. We're living this together,
yeah,
whether there's a war here, whether there's starvation here. We are all creating this life. We're all creating this movie that we are a part of. Every single one of us, we have a purpose, and it's up to us to work together.
uh, uh, right, exactly. I do kind of totally agree with that. And with what would you say about working with Jacqueline Hales?
Oh, she's brilliant. She has a calm demeanor about herself, and she's really grounded. She has an elegance about her, but she's strong as well. It's something, she doesn't overdo much,
Yeah,
just very calm, and she brings forth what is needed and necessary for a character, no more.
yeah,
And I really like that. It's a comforting, her acting as well as her day-to-day life. It's comforting
exactly.
in a way. Yeah. It gives you just what you need, and that's all.
And
Uh-huh.
I
Perfect.
don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, um,
Uh-huh.
but with Jacqueline, it's something about her that compels you to you know give all your attention to what she's
Yes.
doing on screen.
There's something my father used to tell me. My father was like, a gangster, he never raises his voice.
Yeah,
So my father's from Sicily, has a little Sicilian accent. And he's like, a gangster never raises his voice. What happens? He's like, people don't pay attention to you. You lower their voice. He's like, that makes them more important. You draw them into you. Instead of going to them, you lose the power there. You make them come to you. And then you quiet your instinct, your movements, everything. You quiet your voice. And now it's more important. Now you draw. So she has that allure, like a gangster, with someone who knows they have this power or this control or confidence. She leans back. She makes you come to her. She doesn't go to you. And as an audience, when reading a book, when watching a play, I want to be drawn in. I want to fall into this world of imagination, right? When I read a book, I want to be able to discover things and create within my own mind, with her acting that allows you to do that,
mm-hmm.
and I dig it. Yeah.
All right. Sounds great. So, Eve, these days, a lot of shows are, bringing in sci-fi elements and the concept of multiple universes and time travel and I don't, it's just limitless. The kind of
Mhm.
stuff they bring on, and it's just mind-boggling. You're like,
Yeah.
is this am I even real? Is my mom real? You know?
Yeah, it makes you question your own
Yeah,
existence.
exactly. And if you read or study a lot about it, you do fall into existential crisis and all.
Existential crisis once a week.
Yeah,
Once a week.
yeah. So I've been there and that. So
Yeah.
um, so anyway, the audience of today, since making series is much more easier, so the series just starts. It's not like a movie that you get 3 or 4 good movies a year. Now you're getting dozens of new shows every week, right?
Yeah.
Practically there are like a lot of streaming services, so the content has increased so much. So so do you think that getting into this kind of sci-fi genre was important for you as an actor, like professionally? Or was
Well,
it just
I
the script, and was it just the people that you were getting to work with? Or did you actually, make a choice to get involved in this genre?
well, I all of the reasons, and I'll specify why getting into sci-fi and artificial intelligence in the genre. So first, it was acting with particular people. They came to me, so it wasn't that I sought out
Mm-hmm.
anything in that nature, but I believe that I was offered opportunities. And once reading it, there was Cyber X, there's Into the Storm, Stormageddon, two different names, Cypher, all of these movies and films I've done do have this hint. But as we evolve as humans, I believe so does art, so does cinema. Art imitates life and vice versa.
Definitely.
And so it like 1984, George Orwell, that would be something then. And it's almost like now we are experiencing that. So it takes that into account. And, you know, it's not, I don't believe that most of the things are, I wouldn't consider them sci-fi, but it's something that we're living. And it's these things, like we were saying, existential crises that are going on in our head. What if artificial intelligence takes over real life? And does that mean that the soul will transfer to artificial intelligence? So as we think of these things when we're sitting around with our friends, contemplating what life would be like in 40 years, that's where art turns to, and that's what it becomes. And so it's not far fetched for me to go into these roles because these are the conversations I'm having with people. And so wherever conversations go seems to be where my career goes. And, Cypher, for instance, or Dystopia. Dystopia was about a dystopian future, and the world's been taken over, and almost we're getting to that now. There's riots everywhere. There's these people in charge. It's just crazy. We're hiding out from the government. We don't know who's good, who's bad. Well, it sounds very similar, doesn't it? And just like George Orwell's 1984, very similar. So we tend to live in these worlds, but these are fantasy worlds and they're heightened. The experience is heightened. It's more dramatic, but it's just as real, So it's a different way of telling the story. But the basic, the moral of the story is the real part of the story. It's the same. Yeah.
Damn, lady, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And all of
You
it
know.
in one go.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Well,
was
I
seriously beautiful.
thank you, thank you. You know, sometimes my brain works faster than how I talk,
Yeah.
so I'll talk in fragments of sentences. But
Yeah.
I'm trying, like we talked about earlier, meditation, and I notice I talk really fast sometimes because my brain is going in so many different. I'll hear what you say, and it goes here, here, and here, and I don't. I'm trying to find a way, which I've been working on myself daily, to combine all of these thoughts sporadic thoughts into one sentence rather than jumping to all of them. And so through meditation and breathing,
But
I
this is a
tried
sign
to learn.
that you have a very healthy brain. This is a sign that
Yeah.
you have a very healthy brain because
Oh.
it's able to function so fast.
Uh-huh.
You definitely have a very healthy brain.
Thank you. Well, that's great news. That's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes getting it out, sometimes I feel like it was hard for me to have conversations with people because I would speak in fractions of sentences and then I'd talk about this and I'd talk about that. And it was never able to get it
Let me
together.
make a
But
guess.
noticing,
Let me make a guess. Guess. Sorry about the
uh-huh.
accent. uh, you sucked at math. Is it true
Oh,
or
yes.
not? You did,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Chemistry as well.
Yes. Chemistry as well. I was awful.
But
Dreadful.
physics was fine.
It was okay. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Better,
Yeah, I
better
did
in
not.
math and chemistry. Physics was better, right?
Yeah, it was much better. Yeah. Why did you make that assumption?
And
What is
and there are more subjects. For okay. You like
I liked mythology. I liked
you did well in language and literature.
literature. Yes. The English language, like punctuations, things like that. Not so much, but literature, yes.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, sucked at accounting.
Yes. Will
Okay.
do.
What? Okay, geography. Let me make that. Yes. Mm, geo- geography was nah. Just
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, it depends if geography, well, now if we account stories in there, stories, history, that kind of stuff, I'd be drawn in, but actual geographic, okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. So tell me, what is this, why did you, what's the correlation?
It's basically when you mentioned that your your speech is faster, than your thoughts are faster than you can speak. That's the thing, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
Uh-huh.
that in that kind of condition, the brain has you know, of course everybody's brain is different, but
Yeah.
in this situation usually this is how the brain is like it would love creative stuff rather than stuff that would mm, uh, make it wanna, you know, it would like to just flow rather than focusing
Uh-huh.
on stuff like in math or
Okay.
accounting. So
To,
so subjects that require a lot of focus are not your or my cup of cake, but subjects that take you into fairyland or you know a lot of theory are
uh-huh.
our cup of
I
tea.
see that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like math, it's sitting there, but every single possibility already exists.
Yeah,
There's no exploration in math.
yeah,
There's geography. We already know this is the map. This is this.
yeah.
But for me, everything, I like to explore, and that's how I
By the
understand.
way, I have a
And
diploma in psychology, so
oh, you do?
yeah.
Oh, wow. So wait,
Basically, I've
you,
always been interested in the human mind. You know, ever since I
uh-huh,
was a kid, I was like, the brain is so amazing, and the older I grew, I found stuff to read, and it just amazed me more and more. So after completing my masters and everything, when I got done with it, all my studies, I did a diploma in psychology just
Uh-huh.
because I wanted to learn about the subject and maybe help a few people around me. So yeah.
How after you completed did you was there any discoveries that you once when you studying for that you learned that were mind blowing or that changed your thought process?
Um, One thing that often comes to my mind is something that I learned in my first or second class. I remember the scene very vividly. It was raining outside and it was kind of chilly inside, all that fog on the window and all. So my teacher walks in and she's a really classy lady with short hair and everything. And you can hear her heels knocking against the door, and this is the boss lady. So
Uh-huh.
she was like, ladies and gentlemen, uh, the human mind repeats 95% of thoughts every day. That means you at least think 60,000 of your thoughts every day, same thoughts every day. 60 or 60,000 thoughts every day are repeated. So be careful
Sita.
what you put in the garden of your mind. So if you
Ah, almost like manifestation in a
exactly,
sense, right?
exactly.
Yes.
So
So wait.
your thoughts are repetitive. So she was like, first we we have to understand that we need to think of new thoughts. You know,
Yes.
stop the chain of thinking the same things again and again. Uh, this will come through certain exercises and stuff, but you will gradually gain power over your brain, and that way you would actually progress since you're thinking about new stuff and not repeating the old stuff. So imagine 90% of new thoughts every day. Much more different Eve a year later.
Yes. So, but being aware that you're thinking the same old thoughts and trying to stop them.
Exactly.
But how do you choose the thoughts? You choose the thought based on the life you want, not the life you have, correct?
Exactly.
So when you catch yourself thinking these old thoughts, what do you do? How do you change them? Because it's so easy to say it, but to actually change that, like what's your process?
I mean, if I start to answer that, it would be much more of my interview than
Ah,
yours. But yeah, I could teach you a couple of things off the record uh,
yeah.
once the interview was done. Because if I get
Okay.
into all that, I'll have to, you know, uh, give and tell about a lot of basics so that
Huh?
people and maybe you as well understand what I'm talking about. So yeah,
Okay.
but
But that's
but what they say about meditation is that you have to think about nothing is completely wrong. This concept
okay.
is completely wrong. You just cannot do that. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
I mean,
not.
unless you're sleeping, it's I've been there before and I've fallen asleep and then but there's always some reoccurring thought in my head and then I would the best thing for me is just say an affirmation or to focus on something because otherwise my head does. It just goes into this thought.
Yeah,
It's just like this what are those things called that collect dust like a dust ball just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
exactly.
So I'll try to pull myself back to an original thought. But it through time it quiets down, but it's never silent.
Right. So for the smart ones out there, I'd just like to say that the human mind can think about only one thing at a time. It does not have the ability to simultaneously think about two things.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to quiet your mind, think about one thing, focus on one thing.
Okay.
That is what I would, concisely, briefly say for the, larger audience that is hearing us and listening, watching us. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
one key take that I would, give out. That
Yeah. I mean, even talking about it, for some reason, just it's almost like it brings something. It is a comfort. It's soothing. Talking about meditation or talking about focusing on one thing, it seems to just the idea, not even actual doing of it, is has a comfort to it.
exactly.
So yeah. Hmm.
Like let's say, um, you're sad because your dog died. Now, this thought is on your mind, right? So if you go to your toilet and start scrubbing the floor and focus on all the dirt that's been collected in between the tiles, or in the US a lot of the flooring is made of wood. So if in case you have tiles, or I don't know how it is, so you go there and start focusing on all the dirt that is in between the tiles and start scrubbing it. Uh, Within a few minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, your brain would actually be working on focusing on cleaning the toilet, and you would actually be out of the thought chain of missing your dog, right?
Yes. Uh-huh. Because you can't focus on two things at once, as you said.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
so these are like some hacks to you know just improve the quality of your life.
Yeah. And it is our choice what to focus on. You could have a bad day and I can focus on I woke up this morning and as soon as I got up, I broke the glass next to the side of my bed and I could keep focusing on that. And then it will have the domino effect and then everything bad will happen.
Exactly.
Or I can focus on, hey, it's a great day. I got up this morning. I'm feeling good. I feel, I have energy. I could work out. So it is what we focus on persists. And when thinking about that, with say your dog passes or something bad does happen, it is a choice. And a lot of people like to live there in that choice because it's more comfortable for them to be in this misery. Say something happened as a child. It's okay. We can accept that and move on. But to live it, you're not a child anymore. This moment ceased to exist. This is the past. You can learn from it and let go. But you're in a totally different, you've lived so many lives since then. So it is a choice for people to say, this is I identify with this and this is how I label myself because this is something that happened to me. I'm a product of this. That's not you. It's something that happened to you. And it's so limiting, I see, for so many people to say, well, I came from this and this is what makes me and this is who I am. And
Exactly.
it's not. And I could say the same thing. I wouldn't be here today if I lived in my past. And I think a lot of people wouldn't. And because it limits you. You don't see this beautiful world is at the tip of your fingers if you live in something that no longer it doesn't chain you. You're not chained to this past. You're not chained to something that happened to you.
Exactly.
Something, yeah, your dog passed away, you broke your glass, something happened to you as a child. That's something that happened. It's not where you are in your current state. You choose when you're ready to move on.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So always choose wisely what you want to think about, and if you at any moment realize that you're thinking negative thoughts, you are,
Uh-huh.
now you are aware that these thoughts are negative. So just shift your thoughts to something else. Maybe focus or try to recall a good memory, and that will uh, make your brain recall so many more memories that were attached with the basic memory in the first place, and you be happier. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you know all of this should be more available to the general public, and
Yeah.
of course the taboo around mental health problems should definitely be. I mean, people should get over with it, and it's not
Yeah.
your fault if you're facing a tough time, or you know.
Well, the society isn't built around, we're human beings and we've built a society to make us so closed off. We're all crazy. We're all dying. We're all having these existential crises because we've built something and it doesn't work for us. We're these human beings trapped in this society that's closed all of these things, and we're supposed to be together. There's a togetherness. There's a there should be a stillness in this world that we've built around us, these buildings, this raising up, you
Yeah,
know, it's hard to say, like, you're not crazy. It's a society we've built around us. It doesn't suit us. This
exactly.
isn't meant for us. So to find a way to navigate through that and still find happiness and peace within it, and to stay as stable as possible
Yeah,
without having these breakdowns, and to not limit yourself, that's the key,
exactly. So I would
Yeah.
like to say that learn to forgive, um,
Yes.
learn to give, and
Yes.
what's the third thing? I just forgot
Forgive,
that.
and let's think.
Learn
Forget.
to forgive, uh, learn to
Forget.
forget, and learn to give. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you forgive, you know,
Uh-huh.
everything becomes so beautiful, because when you have a grudge against someone, your heart
Yes.
is continuously burning. There's this feeling over here that is, like fire, and you just want to, punch that person who said something to you, and it offended you, and there's this fire, and you want to punch that person and beat him down. Learn to forgive. Okay, maybe he is not as well cultured as you are. Maybe he was in uh, a bad mood himself. Maybe something bad happened with him. So, the way people act are because of the circumstances that are going on. So, you have to believe in the uh, goodness of humanity, as in general, the
Uh-huh.
the goodness of humanity in its entirety. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And forgiveness is more of a gift of the person who forgives than it is the person receiving.
Yeah.
When I forgive someone, that weight, that thing that I'm holding on to, is gone. It's dissipated.
Exactly.
So the gift is really forgiveness. I'm actually giving to myself by forgiving the other person, right?
Exactly. It took me 10 years to
Uh-huh.
forgive someone who cheated on our business, and
Uh-huh.
we were kids back then. But the day I forgave that person, because I saw him and he was really old and sick and miserable, so I was like,
Uh-huh.
man, I just forgive him. And suddenly I start feeling so good inside me, because there is uh, nothing negative left inside me, or if not nothing, then a huge chunk of negativity has gone outside my brain, my system, my spirit, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So you must
Because
forgive.
you were holding on to it. It
Exactly.
was, yeah.
And
Yeah.
all that time, he was having the time of his life. He was stealing my money. He was driving amazing cars. He was living the life, while I was sulking back at home. So you gotta
Yeah.
forget and forgive. Right?
Yeah. It's only hurting yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
It's more harmful than the bad the other person has done to you.
Yeah, well, holding on to that stuff, that's what causes diseases and sicknesses and aging. And people wonder what it is. It's this negative thinking. And when you're sad, when you're holding on to that, that's really the cause of disease. Of course, bad diet and unhealthy lifestyle, but that is part of it as well. It eats away at you inside.
Exactly. And when you
Yeah.
give, the third thing, the
Uh-huh.
give, forgive, and then give. When you
Uh-huh.
give, there is naturally a sense of, I mean, this is even scientifically proven that when a person gives something to the other person, uh, there is this sense of the ability or the
Yes.
gratitude that you have something, therefore you are able to give, and this is extremely great for your self-esteem as well, and of
Huh?
course the society. So
There's
learn to give.
There's a book, Anne Rand. I don't know if you know who she is. She wrote The Fountainhead. Yeah, she wrote a book called The Virtue of Selfishness, and it's a very small book, and she wrote about it. Selfishness has this negative connotation when really it's not. So to be selfish, in a sense, like you said, giving, it gives back to you. So you're being selfish. That is selfishness, but it's not negative. To give to someone, the joy that I get from giving to them is selfish. I'm giving to them because it gives me joy. I wouldn't be giving from a full heart if I didn't get something in return. So
Exactly.
there is a virtue in selfishness. I do get something in return, and that is why I am giving. And to
Exactly.
say that I am, and that's I'm giving to you because I'm also receiving just as much. There is this virtue in this selfishness, and you have to see it. That's pure giving because you are getting something in return, not the same thing, but
Exactly.
something much
Much
more
more
valuable
valuable.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, and plus, giving and doing good stuff. I mean, positive stuff
Yeah.
is indeed infectious. Like let's say you and I are standing in a queue, and I give you my place because you're behind me. So I give you my place because I hear that you're on your phone and you're running late, and I give you my place, and somehow I save your day. So that makes you really happy, and in return you start being good to the next person you meet. So now that you're
Uh-huh.
good to the next person you meet, that person will be good to the next person he or she meets. So
Yes.
the cycle just continues. So one person can make a difference in at
Uh-huh.
least, if not 100, then at least 50 people's life in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you do that, and sometimes I'll hold the door for someone or I'll smile and they won't smile back. But I say to myself, see, there's moments that I've done the same thing. I was caught off guard and someone smiled at me. I didn't smile back. Then afterwards I'm walking away. I'm like, that was nice.
Yeah.
You might not see it. They might not show it or express it. You could hold the door open for someone and they could just walk through and have their head down,
Yeah.
but they did notice.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe they're not passing on to the next person, but don't let that affect you. Don't let
Exactly.
that, maybe that's what they needed. Maybe they just need that little softness. Maybe they're
Exactly.
going through something.
Exactly.
Everyone's going
And
through
you don't
something.
do
And
good things for someone else, you do it for yourself.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you do it
Even if
for yourself.
and sometimes that will give me more of a joy. I'll hold the door open for someone, they just go through and I'm like, that person, I don't know what they're going through, but I'm not making it about me. It's not about me. But even the joy of they didn't even want me to hold the door for them because they were so happy in their misery. And now here I am holding the door, smiling, saying, have a good day. And they just storm off and they can't be as miserable as they were 2 seconds ago. I'm like, well, I feel pretty good about that.
Exactly.
It's like annoying your older brother or sister in a sense,
Very well put.
Yeah.
Perfect scenario. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any updates on Cypher? Something exclusive for Screen Bench?
Well, no Cypher, no updates. I think we're still season 2 is in the works.
Uh-huh.
I have another movie that's coming out called Pacerville, which is going to be really good. It's in the pandemic.
Right.
So, there's kids going through the pandemic. The school's been shut down. The main actor is Brian Austin Green. He does a phenomenal job. And the other actors and actresses, just amazing.
So
That's
next time
coming out in
I'll be
October.
seeing you for that.
Huh?
Next time I'll be seeing you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, I mean, this is good. The director, Nick Leisure is his name. He's a phenomenal director. So the pacing of the movie, everything, it's really, if you check out the trailer, I think that's on my Instagram or online, called Pacerville. It's just done so well. So that's in October. I'm excited for that. It's really good. So yeah, watch it, check it out.
And Eve, what would you like to say to your fans?
I would like to say, no matter what you see on social media, whatever, everyone's doing so well, and everything seems to be going well for everyone else. And sometimes you think it's not going well for you. Just realize that everyone has their own personal struggle, and don't give up. These are hard times for everyone. And, just know that there's someone there rooting for you. Just like you root for me, I root for you guys. And I'm here. And, we're in this together.
Yeah. Thank you
This is
so
all
much
this,
for
we're
your
all in
time.
this together.
Thank you so much for respecting us enough to give your time to us. You're very
Thank
welcome
you.
to Screen Bench.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was amazing.
Thank you so
Just
much.
made my day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Even greater.
Yes.
So yeah.
And I hope you get some sleep. I know it's like 1 something in the morning there. So
Yeah. It's alright.
Okay.
It's alright.
I'll talk to you
You're talking
soon.
to a beautiful, actress, a movie star, a celebrity. It's okay to be
Oh,
up
please.
at 1 in the morning.
We're the same. We're the same. Remember.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Yeah, goodbye.
I'll talk to you soon.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.